7 into the hour 12. This is Bena Midday News coming to you live from Benap House, Atomic Junction, Medina. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Coming up in today's bulletin. The hearing in the case involving former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been adjourned to April 27, 2026. And in other stories, COMAC is set to hold a critical meeting today as it seeks to forge a common industry position on the petroleum price floor program. And in some news beyond our borders, more than 100 people have been killed after weeks of heavy rains in Mozambique since the rainy season began in October. We bring you details of these stories shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Bena TV. Now the news in details. The hearing in the case involving former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been adjourned to April 27, 2026. Mr. Ofori-Atta appeared before a United States Immigration Court in Virginia on Tuesday, January 20, 2026, as a proceedings continue over his immigration status. He was seen wearing a dark shirt and a face mask during the hearing. His detention earlier this month by United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, with U.S. authorities arguing that the former finance minister no longer has lawful status to remain in the country after the revocation of his visitor visa. The matter was heard at the Annandale Immigration Court before Immigration Judge David Gardy, focusing on a bond redetermination and a preliminary review of his case. Court records indicate that Mr. Ofori-Atta is currently being held at the Caroline Detention Center. Mr. Ofori-Atta was represented by his legal team, including Christopher Chason of Whiteford, Taylor and Preston, and Kwao Amegashi, described in court as his long-term immigration lawyer. During the proceedings, counsel requested that both the bond hearing and the related master calendar hearing be closed to the public, citing the sensitive nature of issues expected to be raised. Judge Gardy granted the request, ordering the hearings to be conducted privately and directing non-parties observing via WebEx to exit the session before proceedings continues. Mr. Ofori-Atta faces multiple criminal charges in Ghana and has been declared wanted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor in relation to allegations of corruption and corruption-related offences, including issues arising from the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited contract and other procurement matters. As Ghana seeks to his extradition from the United States, the outcome of the immigration case could determine whether Mr. Ofori-Atta remains in the U.S. or is returned home to face justice. Further hearings are expected as the case progresses. The government of Ghana has initiated negotiations with the family of Guinea's first president, Ahmed Sekou Toure, to take possession of the residence where Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah lived and worked during his final years as a co-president for Guinea. The move, undertaken on the instructions of President John Dramani Mahama, is aimed at preserving the legacy of Ghana's first president and transforming the property into a heritage site for historical preservation and tourism. This was disclosed by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, in a Facebook post on Wednesday, January 21, 2026, who said the Mahama administration intends to renovate and preserve the residence as a mark of respect to Dr. Nkrumah and to create a comprehensive experience that traces his life and leadership journey from Ghana to Guinea. According to Mr. Ablakwa, the decision was formally conveyed to Sekou Toure family on Saturday when Vice President Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman led a Ghanaian delegation to visit the family and tour Dr. Nkrumah's abandoned home in Guinea. The visit followed the investiture of Guinea's President Mamadi Doumbouya. Mr. Ablakwa noted that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is currently negotiating the terms and conditions of the proposed takeover while engaging preservation experts to guide the renovation and conservation process. He assured that the government will keep the Ghanaian public fully informed throughout the process in line with its commitment to transparency and accountability. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first president, lived in Guinea after his overthrow in 1966 and was appointed co-president by President Sekou Toure, marking a significant chapter in Pan-African history. Now, moving on, President John Dramani Mahama will lead discussions on the Accra Reset Initiative at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, as part of efforts to reimagine international cooperation and strengthen sovereign capacity among countries of the Global South. In a statement issued by the Presidency Communications on Wednesday, January 21, 2026, President Mahama is expected to participate in the first Davos convening of the Accra Reset on Thursday, January 22, 2026, on the margins of the World Economic Forum annual meeting.
According to the statement, the President leads the Presidential Council of the Accra Reset, described as a Global South initiative working to strengthen sovereign capacity and reimagine international cooperation in an era of unprecedented global challenges. The statement noted that the Accra Reset is timely, coming at a period marked by intensifying great power rivalries, the collapse of the global age narrative, unprecedented trade tensions, and the crisis of climate shocks, cost of living, pandemics, and conflict. The meeting is expected to launch priority programs following the initiative's introduction at the 2025 United Nations General Assembly and its endorsement at the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. President Mahama, the statement said, considers the Accra Reset as complementary to his domestic reform, the Resetting Ghana agenda, adding that Ghana recognizes that effective national governance requires both internal reforms and a more equitable international system. The statement further quoted the president as consistently emphasizing that sovereignty means the capacity to execute national visions while building strategic partnerships, particularly within Africa and across the Global South, that advance mutual interests.
Well, on this note, we go for a quick turn. We'll be back with business and more. Do stay.
Again, it's bigger and better. Brace yourselves for the third edition of the biggest pre-Ramadan fair. It's the Baina Trade Connect 2026. 2 days of endless endless sales, and unmatched vibes. Mark your calendars on the 14th and 15th February 2026 at Zurak Park, Libya Cortez, Medina from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come trade, come connect, come shop, and have fun. To book a stand, contact 053-948-7757. Baina Trade Connect 2026. See you there.
Holding a critical meeting today as it seeks to forge a common industry position on the petroleum price floor program amid growing divisions among oil marketing companies over the policy's impact on fuel pricing. The engagement has become necessary as differing views persist within the OMC space, with some operators supporting the price floor as a stabilizing mechanism for the downstream petroleum market, while others oppose it, arguing that the policy limits their ability to pass on further price reduction to consumers.
The debate intensified during the second pricing window in January, spilling across social media and traditional media platforms. The amplifying calls for sections of the ITA and convened the meeting to address the apparent impasse among its members. The discussions are expected to focus on aligning member concerns, assessing the policy's market impact, and agreeing on a unified position ahead of further engagement with regulators. Industry watchers expect the outcome of the meeting, scheduled to continue on January 2022, to shape COMAC's next steps, including whether it will formally engage the National Petroleum Authority to push for adjustments to the price floor regime or reaffirm its support for the policy. While some energy sector players are calling for increased pressure on the MPA to scrap the price floor in the deregulated downstream petroleum sector to allow greater consumer relief, others maintain that the policy is necessary to promote fair competition and sustain industry viability. The National Petroleum Authority, for its part, says it remains ready to engage COMAC, insisting that the chamber had backed the price floor policy prior to its introduction.
Now, on the international front, after weeks of heavy rain, floodwaters in Mozambique's Maputo province have submerged vast areas of land. Nationwide, more than 100 people have been killed since the rainy season began in October. In Maputo province alone, more than 36,000 people are affected, but the floods have destroyed thousands of kilometers of roads, preventing aid from getting through.
Across the country, more than 500,000 people have been affected, with tens of thousands forced into emergency shelters. But there's not enough treated water or fuel for boats. Opposition leaders blame the government for failing to prepare. Children's agency UNICEF said January's exceptionally heavy rains had created a rapidly escalating emergency. UNICEF spokesman Guy Taylor said the flooding was not only destroying homes, schools, health centers and roads, but was also turning unsafe water, disease outbreaks and malnutrition into a deadly threat for children. He warned that Mozambique's entry into its annual cyclone season heightens the risk of a double crisis. Taylor said disruption to food supplies and health services threatens to push the most vulnerable children into a most dangerous spiral. The latest deluge is already among the worst Mozambique has seen in years, and officials fear the toll could climb further with more heavy rain forecast. A countrywide red alert warning, the highest level, has been issued over the weather.
And now moving on to sports, the U.S. Embassy in Accra has announced the opening of thousands of additional non-immigrant visa appointment slots, with many of the new dates available immediately as it continues to process visa applications amid growing travel demand. In a notice to the public, the embassy said it has expanded appointment availability to accommodate applicants, particularly as interest builds ahead of major international events such as the 2026 FIFA World Cup, to be hosted in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The embassy specifically urged Ghanaians planning to travel to the United States for the 2026 World Cup to avoid last-minute application, noting that early planning increases the likelihood of securing interview appointment and completing process on time. Applicants have also been reminded to use only the official U.S. visa appointment platforms when submitting their application,